Okay. You guys want to take a look at this?
Refer to it.
Oh, these are the ones that are referred to in the
Yeah.
text.
Right.
That's the one. Those were the three I thought of.
Yeah.
I think they said only 5, 6, and 7 were the ones that are
We put up
not
the
being used for
three.
non-agriculture, and those are also the ones closest to the property line.
72.
You're right.
73, something.
Okay, I think we're live.
Moved it from the mill. Actually, non-recording engineers moved it from the mill to here. And then we set the structure up.
I guess we are.
All right, going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:36. I will do the roll call since Secretary Rocket is absent. Dan Thayer.
Present.
Douglas Stebbins.
Present.
Dean Hills here. Andy Rocket, absent. Joe Marinaccio.
Present.
BJ Farrow, absent. Susan Peck, absent. And Ralph Williams.
Present.
Present. Very good. Before we get into it, just a couple of procedural things for the board to know, as well as the audience and anybody who's listening or watching the stream. Because this is not a variance or an appeal, it's approval of this. If we do approve, a simple majority is all that is needed. And we cannot approve this with any amendments, or changes or anything like that. This has to be straight up or down. It's a court document that they're bringing us an agreement. I mean, we could reject it and say we want this or that, but I would, as chairman, would strongly recommend against that, as we already had our whack at this apple at the last meeting. So, that being said, we're going to begin, and I will start with, is there any public discussion on this matter? Anybody in the audience?
Mr. Chairman, we're really here just to answer any questions if they come up regarding the agreement.
Very good. We just need to go through the motions. We have no questions, so we can get this discussion rolling. I'd like to get a motion on the floor to approve the decision regarding the proposed settlement in the matter of the Union Agricultural Society of Summers, Enfield, Ellington versus Summers Zoning Board of Appeals, docket number TTD-CB-21-602238S.
I would make that motion.
Second, yes, there.
Discussion.
Well, I do have one inquiry. If I read this correctly, we can't actually approve it because we're supposed to hold a public hearing.
This is a public hearing.
No, it's a public meeting. You're not required under the rules of the practice book to have a public hearing, just a public meeting.
Okay, well, the
So
word
it
hearing
says-
was used in the text of the text here. Let me find it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with that, but since if we're
Yeah.
going to approve the text, I want to abide by the text to
Yeah,
begin
that
with.
would be just a typo. Can you?
Let me see if I can find that place where it said it.
Page 4, paragraph 5.
Yep, that should be public meeting.
Okay.
That's what required under section 14.7b
Okay.
of the practice book. We could catch.
Okay. Well, then we will, at the appropriate time, we should amend our motion. I will amend the motion as you wish for that one portion.
And where is that?
It's on page 4, paragraph 5. This agreement is contingent upon the approval of the same by the ZBA at a public hearing. That word hearing should be stricken and the word meeting be replaced. Carl Landolina for the record. But that is what is required under practice book section 14-7B.
Excuse me for me, I'm taking some notes because I'm the secretary as well tonight. Can we amend that motion?
I would move to amend my original motion to change the one word on page 4, paragraph 5, to say that approval of the same by the ZBA at a public meeting rather than hearing.
So
That's your cue for a second.
Second.
Hold on, any discussion on that? Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So under the Connecticut General Statutes, which allows appeals of administrative decisions by land use boards and commissions, which is 8-8 of the Connecticut General Statutes, there's a special section, 8-8, subparagraph N, which requires in all cases that any settlement withdrawal of any zoning case, land use case, requires a hearing in front of the Superior Court. They have the right to inquire as to the circumstances that led to the settlement and withdrawal of the case. So under Practice Book 14.7b, the body that is the defendant, most often in these cases the municipal agency, is required to have a public meeting duly noticed to go over the settlement and approve the terms and conditions of the settlement. Once it happens, we will have a hearing in front of the Superior Court, which will probably be a remote hearing online. It'll be live streamed so anyone can watch it. And I'm sorry, but Dory's going to have to tell me the date is next week, right?
It's June 27th
June.
at 9:30 a.m.
Right.
And it is not, yeah, it is all remote. It is not in person.
Yeah. So anyone that wants to watch it, and we're required to announce the date at this meeting here.
Mhm.
So anyone who's participating remotely or through live stream, whatever, has the opportunity. They've been told the date and time of that hearing. They can watch it, and under limited circumstances, they also may be allowed to comment, although it's very unusual for the judge to allow public comment at that type of hearing. But that's the way that these cases have to be resolved. We can't just say we have an agreement, we're going to settle it, and we're on our own, or we're going to withdraw the case. So this will become an order of the court. All right.
What court was that again?
This will be the Towne Superior. No, it's in Hartford, right? Yes.
Right.
It's in the land use court in Hartford, Hartford Superior
No,
Court.
no, it's not.
No.
It is Rockville's, we the land use court for just the alternative dispute resolution, but it still is pending in the Rockville Superior Court.
Yeah, so it would be Rockville Superior Court, but it will be a remote hearing.
Was the notice of this meeting accomplished?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't have to see it in the paper.
It wasn't required to be in the paper. It's just a regular meeting.
Well,
It's
not a
not
regular,
after
it was a
it's canceled,
special
then
Well,
meeting.
it's a special meeting, but it didn't have to be published in the paper.
Okay.
So the only notice that is required is the agenda being posted 24 hours in advance, which is
Fine. Just
been
didn't want to,
yeah.
coming back to.
Because I know
Mike's
that
again.
everything you guys do is always in the paper.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things that
Popular
doesn't
people.
have to be in the paper. So it's just a regular agenda, has to be an item on
Fine.
the agenda. So thank you for accommodating tonight's meeting. So this will become an order of the court. It will become the de facto zoning for this piece of property from now until the agreement terminates, which would terminate in the event that UAS or any other entity that might replace it stops having the Fort Town Fair
Mhm.
on the fairgrounds. So once that occurs, if it ever occurs, the property will revert back to its normal zoning, whatever zones it's in, and the Fort Town Fair will no longer be permitted if they stop having it there. The zoning will go back to whatever zone it's in.
Did
But
I
as long
read-
as
did I
it's
read that it could be, it didn't necessarily have to be the Fort Town, it would have to
Could
be
be
some
an
sort of
agricultural-
agricultural,
Yeah.
yes.
Just wanted to clarify.
So if they stop calling it the Fort
But
Town
still
Fair,
have
it
the
becomes
4-H or
the
something else. Yeah.
whatever, somebody takes over the agricultural fair.
Hmm.
That's the primary use of the property. And all these other activities, which are very well described in much detail in this.
Exhaustive.
Yes. And you can thank George Schober and Dorian Famigletti for doing that. We played a limited role in that. The only obligation on the part of the town is to put up and remove signs on
For
one of the
sunshine.
roads that lead up to there. And it's already done during the Fort Town Fair week or weekend. So to the extent that they have one of these other large events, and there's a trigger language in here, then Todd Rowland and his crew will have to go out and do it. Now there's language in here, which was the last thing that was resolved, is because if to the extent that it requires overtime by any town employee, and the minimum charge is 2 hours of overtime, if that fee is incurred by the town, UAS will reimburse the town for that expense. But if it's an event during normal, let's say, town working hours, then there'll be no expense. So that's the only, and Todd, he told us what the number was, and, he's satisfied with that. So he's okay with it.
Now, at the last meeting, the meeting
Yeah.
where we first discussed this,
Yeah,
which I had to leave prematurely, there was some discussion that the zoning commission somehow had to give its
I offered this.
its imprimatur, or
Well, technically, you are the plaintiff or dead plaintiff.
No, I
so
understand,
yeah.
but
we-
because enforcement
Yes.
entailed them.
Yeah, so Jen is well aware of the terms of this. She's been in contact. I sent a copy of this on, I think, at least one occasion, maybe two,
Mhm.
to the chair. I'm sorry. That's bad news. But I sent it to Carl, Mr. Walton, and inquired as to whether or not they had any comments, or I didn't hear anything back. So,
Okay.
and as they're not here tonight, they were aware of it. So this becomes the de facto zoning for that parcel.
Yeah. Just want to make sure every base had been tagged.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Not from me.
All right, well, in the spirit of compromise, I hope this board would pass this unanimously, because in these days there's not enough compromise going around, so.
Well, one question.
Appreciate it if it would
Well,
be
I'd be
unanimous.
happy to do that, and I did make a motion twice. I should have asked beforehand. I'm an alternate. And I
Yeah, oh,
thought-
yeah, I would pick you anyway, so, because you were on that, you were the alternate that was on the original.
No, I wasn't.
No?
No, I wasn't.
I thought you were.
No.
Okay. Well, it doesn't
I
matter.
sat there
You don't
mutely
want
and
that.
watched it all go by, but I wasn't. But,
Well,
so if you want to have somebody else make that motion in my stead, I'll
No,
sit back and enjoy the show.
For purpose of tonight, you've been appointed as a full member, so
Okay.
that's
Okay.
fine. Procedurally, I don't think there's
All right.
anything else you have to do. If there's any, I'm sure you've read through it, and again,
Oh, yes.
you've mentioned it's very detailed
Mhm.
as to what and what cannot occur.
Mhm.
And this is a compromise between, frankly, two parties that I did not think were going to be able to compromise and come to this.
I think it was wonderful.
But, Mr. Schober and Dory worked very hard at this with a little assistance from Judge Berger, I guess. More than a little, probably, if I know Judge Berger. But I think it's something that everyone can live with.
All right, no further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries unanimously.
All right. So you'll need to, I guess, publish that. I can work with Jen,
Yeah.
since it's a decision, we'll publish it in the paper. To the extent, I don't believe there's an appeal period, because this is a court matter that we're resolving, but it's going to be published. And again, that date and time that we announced is going to be the hearing in front of the Superior Court. So if any of the audience wants to watch or has an issue, that's where they would take it now.
Okay. Does the town publish notices? There could be a court notice, wouldn't it be in this case?
Well, no, it's because you actually made a decision here that we
Yeah.
publish all decisions in land use bodies in the paper. So we'll do that.
I will notify Jen. I
Yeah.
think she's on vacation this
And
week.
Yeah.
Will there be any question of the time constraint, because she'll be returning so many days after the fact?
No.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and your cooperation.
Very good. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yep, thanks for coming in.
Done.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned?
Okay.
6:50.
You can have it.
Should we,
Find the magic stop button.
should we have it signed before we
Confirm.
send to court for the eighth
Okay.
hearing, or do
We are
have it signed
stopping.
after the meeting?
Want to unplug that?
I know I saw a place on that to sign. That'd be great.